What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 27. Here with my guy, Breton. How are you?
I'm doing so well. I can't see straight. I mean this last week of football. We got to start now because we'll be here for the next 5 hours, if not, right?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, we would be in the next 5 hours, but I would like to start here with every single person that commented Ollie in when we clearly were saying Ollie out.
yeah,
Look what happened. Look what happened. Krish is mad. Look what happened. Varane out. Look at that defense.
yeah.
Ollie out.
It's tough.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. It's
I
not
mean,
tough anymore. It's over.
here's the funny thing is I took a gander at some chat rooms, some message boards, some lives and whatnot,
Mm.
because I wanted to see where United fans their heads were at, and our comment section, right? And
Mm-hmm.
some of the rationalizations of that drubbing today at the hands of Liverpool, and let's like isolate it and say at the hands of Mo Salah, right?
Mm.
Um, some of them were saying, well, there's no guarantee that if you sack Solskjaer, that the next guy is going to be, even worse and take us even further. And all I got to say is, if that's not the bottom, I don't know what the
It's
bottom is.
hard to it's hard to be worse. It's hard to be worse. That's
Yeah,
why I
that
was
was tough.
laughing. Like, how can you say like this is the worst you can get? You're losing to your rivals, like the way you did. And I have to say this. Mo Salah right now is the best player in the world.
Yes.
Three goals, one assist. That is an immaculate performance, and that is the game that just the status is now the best. Okay, you need to be better than Mo Salah right now to be the best player in the world. Okay,
Yeah.
this is the point that we're at too. Like
Yeah,
it's
and I got to bring it up. I mean, come on, a hat trick and an assist against Manchester United at Old Trafford, and that's already. And this is why there's so much to pack into this. What did he do midweek too? Liverpool went down against Atletico Madrid, and Mo Salah was there, right? So
true.
this guy has 15 goals, 5 assists. Mo Salah has 15 goals, 5 assists in 12 games this season. 12 games. Okay,
What?
it's just not even a question. He's the best in the world. Mo Salah is the best in the world at the moment, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't. You can't.
And
It's
did you
just
see the
beautiful.
interview he did? Like
Yeah.
after I see that interview, okay, I actually went to see who gets more money than Mo Salah. Salary wise,
Yeah.
De Gea gets more than Salah, Sterling gets more than Salah, Grealish gets more than Salah, Sancho earns more than Salah.
No way.
Pay this man up, okay?
Yeah.
He's gonna stay if you pay him like Lukaku gets, like Krish gets, the money of the best in the world.
Yeah.
If Liverpool wants Salah to stay, you need to pay him to be the best.
Yeah.
And I
And
want to say this: I knew he was gonna score against Man United, Salah, because he just needed one goal, okay, to become the top African goal scorer in the Prem. And if you surpass Didier Drogba in any level,
yep.
you're a legend.
Absolutely.
And Liverpool, you have an absolute icon with Mo Salah right now.
But,
Okay,
but like
so
here's the even crazier thing. It's not just goals with him, right? I mean, he also leads the Prem in big chances created. He's
Mhm.
just all over the stat sheet, and he's just so incisive with his decision making, and it's just he's a lot of fun to watch. And you have to kind of look at the players around him. I mean, Sadio Mane was benched, right? Or he was not in the 11 today. And he still has this interplay with the players around him. Why? Because Liverpool's a team. Liverpool
Mhm.
is a team. And I know you were about to say this, and I don't mean to steal your thunder, but as we mentioned last week, Manchester United is not a team right now.
No, there's
No.
no system at Man United. And it was actually really interesting to see that Liverpool was doing everything systematically,
Yeah.
and United were like they had no orientation on the pitch.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
And this is why Ollie's going to leave. Pogba is leaving this season. Okay? He's leaving this season. And if you want to get the best out of a player like Pogba, you need Ollie to leave. And Ronald knows this.
Yeah.
Ronald was so annoyed. He shouldn't have done that to Curtis Jones, Ronald. But
Yeah.
that is the mentality. And he was so mad. He's losing 5-0 to one of his biggest rivals. And
Yeah.
I want to say something else. It's embarrassing that Bruno Fernandes was the only one defending Cristiano Ronaldo there. Okay, Van Dijk did bully him. Okay, and Brun was the only one defending him. What's that? Where's the team spirit at Man United? Individualistic team right now. Okay, shambolic. Shambolic.
Seriously, I mean, Harry Maguire. Oof.
Oh.
I mean, it just some of the defend. It made no sense. Well, it does make sense to us. We've been saying it for a while now, and I always have to preface this when we say this stuff about Arsenal, when we say it about United, and it's nice to see Arsenal pepping up. But when we say this stuff, we don't want this to be true. It's what you look at and you kind of say, where's the change going to come from, right? Well, and midweek, United started once again shambolically, and as you mentioned last week. And I'm giving you a little kudos here, Alex. You mentioned that more often than not, they are bailed out by their world-class offensive players, right? And that's exactly what wound up happening. And you can't do that against a machine as well-oiled as Liverpool is right now.
I think this conversation can happen. Like, if Zidane comes to Man United, he'll be listening to two players the most, Cristiano Ronaldo and Varane. You think Varane is going to be defending Maguire?
No.
I think if Varane had cost 40 million, he'd be out already. The fact that Varane cost 85 million means that if they leave him go, they means they made a wrong decision. And for that to happen, I think with Zidane, it might. You never know, but he's at risk. He's at risk.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I think it's time to rip the Band-Aid off and start anew. Let the scab heal over. I mean, now it's just, how do you get Champions League football, right? Fight for that and move on. I know it's still early. I know we threw a little optimism at the end of a couple of our comments last week, but watching that was just tough. And kudos to Liverpool.
And even seeing like the Champions League fixture with Atalanta, like you see that first half.
Yeah.
That is not a first half that Man United should have in the Champions League, okay? And Križ knew that. And I'd love to be a fly, but I'm going to assume here, and this is a bold prediction, in that locker room at halftime, the only person talking must have been Cristiano Ronaldo, okay? Yeah. Because to have a rebound and a comeback like that, Križ must have had an influence in that locker room. Oli, that wouldn't happen with just Oli, okay? So that header, I mentioned you texting, like, only Ronaldo does a header like that. Yeah. And kudos to Messi, too. Messi performed really well in the Champions League. So the two greats, they're performing in the Champions League. They keep on going. Yeah. So.
Oh, we also gotta mention in that PSG game, how, like, Kylian Mbappe is just ruthless. When he starts feeling the game, he's very, very difficult to stop. But he didn't do himself any favor when Messi gifted him that penalty kick near the end of the game. And I think he hit like a 60-yard field goal. I mean, a 60-yard field goal. I mean, that was absolutely depressing. It almost put a dent in the game that he had. But it was really nice to see Messi start. Like, clearly he's not back up to speed. He's not the Leo Messi we all know just yet, but we can see it coming. It's coming. And it'll be there.
We're talking about PSG, and I wanted to talk about this in the pod because I was thinking about it. What is happening with Gini Wijnaldum? Okay, he must be going bonkers, not playing even 1 minute at PSG. What's happening there?
It's tough. I mean, he's made it pretty clear. I think in a couple interviews he's done where he just says, "I'm all for the team. I'm all for the team, but I'm not going to lie and tell you that it's not hard going to a place where you thought you were going to play and you're currently not playing." It's weird because
Gini can play on the wing, he can play in midfield, and he's a quality player in those roles. Yeah. So, are we getting into a phase that we can start judging Poch? You think? Oof. Or is it early?
I think it's early. I mean, he's getting things done in League One, which you can't say the same last year. But I think it's too early in the Champions League to really, but it's going to take some time. Obviously, they've had some odd, very, very odd results. And this is one of those things where you assemble the Avengers, but they don't really like each other. They don't really like each other yet. They don't really know each other well. and they're learning how to play with each other. So that came out weird, but they're learning how to play as a team together, and it's going to be some time. So I can't quite put it on him yet, but it's going to be really interesting to see how that team chemistry plays out for sure.
It's an interesting one. So we saw the United game, but we saw an El Clasico too.
Yeah.
And what did you think about it? Like, first of all, Gavi became the youngest player in the 21st century to play in El Clasico, 17 years old. Another stat to go with him. So wonderful talent, but he didn't play too well.
No,
he didn't play too well against Real.
I mean, these are high stakes. Like, this is the Clasico, and I'd be just immensely surprised if everyone has the steely reserve of Messi as an 18 or 19 or 20-year-old, right? Gavi is still, I mean, it's been very little time, right? Even in Ansu Fati, even a Pedri, who obviously wasn't playing, right? No, he was not playing.
No, Pedri wasn't.
Yeah. So the thing is Barcelona has locked down their core. The thing is that them playing against Real Madrid, they made that a very solid game. But Real Madrid did look in control, and ultimately, okay, Vinicius, I think he went off injured. I didn't see how serious it was, but that, if Vinicius is playing the way he played midweek, right?
Oh yeah.
And he does that game in, game out. I mean, Real Madrid is winning La Liga, and they're going to be one of the favorites for Champions League.
No, Vini and Rodrigo had a wonderful performance this game in El Clasico. They were solid, and Benzema keeps on getting better. Like, the link up between Vini and Benzema, I can't stop thinking if it was Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, and Benzema. Like, I can't stop thinking about it, because like without Mbappe, it's already looking scary and enough to beat comfortably Barcelona. Yeah. So it's Real Madrid. That was a good win, and Carlo Ancelotti, he's having a good job in that team,
Absolutely. But I'll tell you what, did that game feel like the games of old? No, it didn't. The Clasico.
There was a bit more flair than beforehand. Like I feel like now we're starting to feel like Fati's going to be the biggest in Barcelona right now. Being locked up with a 1 billion release clause, just like Pedri, it's a clear message. Fati, Pedri, you two, we need you guys to deliver. If you don't, we're pretty much screwed. And like, I'm very, very confident with Fati. He didn't. I was expecting him to score.
Yeah.
And it's crazy for me to say with an 18-year-old I expect him to score, but that could have happened. And we said Dest had an assist, which is fantastic for a U.S. player to have. But what a miss too.
Oh, what a miss!
Dest had a huge miss.
Oh, what a miss! Yeah, I believe he had one of those in one of our World Cup qualifying games as well, where it just felt like, I don't know, 9 times out of 10 he probably would have put that away. But yeah, he put that over the net, and that one could have set a different trajectory off in the Clasico, and it's a bummer he didn't get that. But it was nice he got that consolation last minute helper to that was to Kun, right? Kun Aguero. So
yep.
I don't know. I mean, it is nice to see. This is an instance, it seems, that Barcelona has ripped the Band-Aid off, like we're suggesting Manchester United does, right? They clearly haven't atoned for their fiscal sins in terms of how many mistakes they've made from a monetary perspective over the years. But they are starting to realize that they better lock down their core, their talented core. They better support their core and not just do it, with shade here and quotes here. You do it with money. And then you give them what they need and hope they develop the way we all think they could. I think the Clasico is going to be lopsided for a couple years, but Barcelona will rise from the ashes again. We'll see.
Yeah. The potential is there, definitely.
Yeah.
So overall news. So I had 2 players that I mention a lot, but it would be very hard for me not to mention these 2 this weekend.
Sure.
And Foden and Mason Mount. Okay. Foden with 2 goals and 1 assist. Okay, for Man City, and Mason Mount with 3 goals.
Yes.
And 1 assist.
Yes.
For Chelsea. Okay, so these 2 had a cracking week, and I'm starting to say like easily 2 English starters right there, okay?
Yeah.
And the fact that maybe we can have a regen here of a Lampard, okay, and a Gerrard type rivalry. So it's pretty nice what's happening there. And yeah, I just wanted to mention those two because the numbers, they're going to be even better this season for Mason Mount and Foden.
Yeah,
okay? And that means a lot.
And you know, I get it, right? They played lowly Norwich City, and I'm sorry for any Norwich fans here, but man, is it tough to be you right now. But Mason Mount, I mean, that's just it was a great individual display. But again, and I brought this up with Salah, he also is second in the Premier League in chances created or big chances created, whatever the difference between the two was. And Chelsea also now has, I believe it's 17 different goal scorers on the year. 17. We're 2 months into the season. 2 months, right? And they've already got 17 scoring, right? And that's just absolutely ridiculous. And I think that further guarantees that obviously Thomas Tuchel is one of the best on the planet in a managerial role. So And I really do have to give a quick shout out beyond Mason Mount. I know he's not a wonder kid. Mason Mount is, but Mateo Kovacic. Sorry, he's already got 5 assists this year in the Premier League. From a tactical perspective, I don't know if there's been anything asked of him differently, or if he's just been padding the stat book when the time comes. But he has been one of Chelsea's best players this season, and I don't think he's gotten as much, and I don't think he really expects to, but as much.
He's underrated.
Respect to his name, yeah.
He's
so
underrated.
I had to bring him up.
People mention Jorginho, but they don't mention Kovacic.
It's true.
So he's underrated. And I wanted to mention here a player that I should mention more, and I understand that, but the team doesn't allow it a lot, and that's Arsenal, and it's Emil Smith-Rowe, okay? Emil Smith-Rowe is easily one of the best dribblers in the Premier League right now, okay? Dribbling-wise, the kid is a magician, okay? I just feel like when he gets that shot, okay, on point, Emil Smith-Rowe is the 10, okay, that Arsenal need. And something that Arsenal need to understand is you cannot play Odegaard and Smith-Rowe at the same time. Partey needs a midfielder next to him. If you play Smith-Rowe or Odegaard, he needs Lokonga, okay? Lokonga works fine with Partey. And if you have Smith-Rowe and Odegaard, you're fine, okay? Yeah. Don't put different tactics just to have every player on the pitch. That was the biggest problem, in my opinion.
Well, I think that's a good point. Another good point is I was almost feeling guilty in some respects watching Arsenal ball out some. And do we have to eat crow just yet on Aaron Ramsdale?
No.
No?
It's still early.
I mean, he's still too expensive, in my opinion, too. But I do like what I've seen from him. I mean, right mentality. He's done what basically when they spent the money, that's what they expected of him, and he's taken over that role. And you start to see that ray of sunshine for Arsenal fans in some respects, where the future is brighter than bleaker. So we'll see.
True, they got it right. Okay, with Ramsdale, it was too expensive. Yeah, but the player is working out. That's I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, I just got to ask you, at this point in the Champions League season, or Champions League, did you have your money on Sebastian Haller being top goal scorer?
No, no, but I didn't have my money too with Sporting suffering all those goals from him. So, but Sebastian Haller, I see here, it's 12 games, 12 goals, right?
Yeah.
He's got.
Yeah,
he won't be staying maybe at Ajax next season, okay? And even with Haaland's leaving, maybe he'll go to Dortmund. Haller. That's a quick speculation that I saw around.
That's a good shout because, frankly, he manhandled Dortmund midweek, was absolutely pretty dominant. And then I don't know if you saw the result today in what was supposed to be a close game between Ajax and PSV Eindhoven. Yeah, Haller worked his magic again, and Dusan Tadic is the everlasting playmaker for them. It's just fun to see a guy that you couldn't see make it at West Ham just lighten up the Champions League.
It
Um,
wasn't working out. Yeah, and
yeah,
Ajax get these players right, like Tadic. They get players that are not working out at a club that they're expected, and they go there. Quincy Promes too, right?
yeah, that's
Like
true.
it's the right. It's not the age. It's just the right transfer.
Yeah.
You know.
And then you pepper some great youngsters around them, and you've got yourself a solid team year in year out.
But they'll go through first Ajax in that group in the Champions League
Probably, yeah.
ahead of Dortmund. Like seeing Dortmund against Ajax, you just see like defensive wise and attacking wise, overall balance. They have a much better team than Dortmund, much better team. That's what I felt honestly watching the match.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it continues, but I can't see if they're like an average 4 or 5 goals a game, I can't see it not happening.
I got
Um,
something here though that I had to mention here with the European competitions, and it
sure.
was. Did you see what Roma? Did you see what
Oh,
happened?
Jesus. Yeah. I
Like
did.
Like that's how does that happen to Mourinho? Like you know how many times has Mourinho suffered more than 5 goals in a match?
Not many.
Never, only once
That's crazy.
against Bodo Glimt.
Oh my.
Only once.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so even for Mourinho, this was a rarity. What happened? Okay, so I want to highlight the player Eric Botham, right?
Yep. Yeah.
2 goals and 2 goals and 3 assists.
Crazy.
Like BFF with Erling Haaland with that rap video.
Yep.
Those two scary link up if those two are on, you know.
Yeah.
So 22 games though he has in the league and 13 goals for Bodo Glimt. And so we might have here a player that's showing up in the European competitions, but he might be leaving too. Okay, just like Jean-Peter Arch,
Yeah.
Haaland, all these Norwegian players are going up in value, and yeah. He's
Yeah, I
21
mean,
years old too.
yeah, and the only defense I would give, I guess, to Roma is very clearly their lack of depth was
Ryan Reynolds.
severely exposed. Yeah, but I do have to ask you about this because you know that I know the history of Mourinho from like a scratch the surface type of approach.
Mm.
But him being a countryman, you probably do know him a whole lot better than I do, and I don't know how you're supposed to build up your second team's confidence when you're repeatedly disparaging them in quotes.
I agree.
I just don't understand that approach at all. It was almost, was it written on the wall that they were going to lose 6-1 to Bodo Glimt? No. But when you're, tearing into a Brian Reynolds, it's really tough for me to feel bad for Jose. So I just wanted to bring that.
I agree. He shouldn't have said what he said. And even with the interview he had, like, I think it was yesterday or was today, I don't know.
The blame.
But he said, like, I'm here to represent the club. And I'm not, like, here like the previous managers bashing the club. And I'll be honest, I think Jose Mourinho he loves this Roma job, okay? Yeah. Like, I have the feeling he's really enjoying this because he's the underdog, okay? And what if Mourinho wins Serie A with Roma? Okay, it's bold. It's bold, but Mourinho is bold. Okay, ever since he's come to the Prem. So I think he really felt sorry for what he said, and I think he's gonna get rid of those bad habits because if he doesn't, not a lot of teams will want him, and I think he understood that, Breton.
Yeah,
so that was really nice to highlight.
I hope so, or it's all just posturing for him to get the Newcastle job. But no, I'm kidding there. But I do. Before we move on from that, the Conference League talk here, I do. You said Eric Botham. There were 2 other guys for Bodo Glimt that all under 23. Eric Botham, Ola Solbakken, and Patrick Berg. And Patrick Berg, in particular, I believe he's their captain. He's been very good for them, and he was there when they were setting, I think it was elite Syrian records in Norway. I think it was last season or 2 seasons ago when Hauge was there. Patrick Berg is one that you should watch to take that next step. And I really, really enjoyed that humble pie that was delivered because they looked fantastic. I mean, fantastic. So.
You were mentioning fantastic, and if we're going to talk about the European competitions and fantastic, I got to mention the poker that Patston Daka had, okay, for Leicester.
Oh my.
Are we seeing here the Jamie Vardy replacement right here?
Yeah.
Paxton Daka,
Yeah.
like pace, finishing, and he seems clinical now.
Yeah.
So
Great.
I think it's a good try. We
I-
did say that we were hyped up before he even played.
Yeah.
So we ain't surprised, guys. And anyone that listens to this pod, you ain't surprised that Paxton Daka is performing okay. So
It's true. And if you missed it, he scored 4 goals versus Spartak Moscow. And then even better today, comes off the bench, after a well-deserved rest, and he assists the match winner versus a tough Brentford team. And he's starting to get in the groove at Leicester. He's starting to feel comfortable, and it's really great to see. And I just wanted a perfect segue, and I appreciate that, Alex, because Brendan Rodgers did throw this quote out there, and I wanted to read it. When Patson Daka had to quarantine and was going to be stuck indoors for 10 days, the club asked him what he wanted. Do you want tellies, PlayStations, whatever else? He didn't want anything. He just wanted some books. He just wanted to read, find out more about Leicester. Daka is like making his new home. And hey,
that's beautiful.
It is. It's great. And the goals are going to keep flowing.
Beautiful.
It is.
You really think Daka is like thinking long term to stay at Leicester, though?
I don't know. I mean, it's
He's 22 now, right?
We've
22.
We've talked about it for years to come. And if you're the heir apparent to Vardy, and you've got a great strike partner potentially in Iheanacho, I don't see why you'd want to leave.
Because even Tielemans, do you think Tielemans, Madison, you got a long players they're in for the long ride with Leicester maybe.
Yeah.
And Didi, I don't see him staying though. And Didi's too good. Harvey Barnes, he might stay in the long run too.
He might. Yep. And you got Luke Thomas coming up. Yeah. And he
might stay in the long run. So
you get Wesley Fofana back healthy. You already got Boubacar Samare in there.
Wesley Fofana, that's too much sauce there right there to stay at Leicester. Okay.
Can't wait until he's healthy though.
Yeah, that's national team. But you got a couple of players there that you can see in the long run, and. Yeah, Leicester is easily now above Everton right now in the status club, right? And 5 years ago, you wouldn't say that. So
you want to talk about Everton right now? Because my goodness,
no.
Getting destroyed by Watford. I mean, if we're talking about feeling bad for United fans, I feel bad for Everton fans. I mean, that was a Rafa Benitez team thrown out there, and I know Richarlison was coming back, and there was. It got weird. Let's just say it got weird. But Emmanuel Dennis for Watford just went off. And I think it was a 5-2 win. Just unbelievable. But
I just wanted to end in my points the European competitions. I had to mention this watching the Bayern Benfica match. Kingsley Coman and Leroy Sané might be the 2 most underrated wingers in the world. That duo is easily top 5 duo of wingers in the world, but no one gets to talk about them. It's Sané had 2 goals and an assist, and if you see Kingsley Coman playing, okay, I'm gonna go bold here. If Kingsley Coman didn't get those ACL injuries, he might be the best player in the world. That is how good he is. Yeah. Okay, Coman is ridiculous, and that's why he's at Bayern. Yeah. Bayern knew that. But they were just so unfortunate with injuries with Coman. So
and it's true. And even with that injury history, it's why he's linked.
He's still there
to top stars, to very good teams, I should say. It's like when he's linked with somebody, he's going to go. He'll sign with Juventus again. He'll sign with somebody else that will allow him, even if he is out with another ACL injury. He'll probably add another 8 trophies to his his cabinet.
But mentally must be very tough though for him.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, he's gone through a lot, and to be able to work yourself back to provide a spark like he provides, pretty much every time he's on the pitch, that's wonderful. But yeah, that Leroy Sané, that free kick that he took, that was absolutely beautiful, and so that's a good shout out. And I think I'm trying to see if one little shout out. Club Brugge got their butts handed to them. They got humbled by Manchester City because they got some points off of City last time. I really got to shout out that Noah Bamba, right? 16 years, 9 months, 14 days old. He is the youngest Champions League debutant so far this year. So that's saying something. The future is there at Club Brugge, and we all know that likely not staying at Club Brugge. He'll be somewhere else, but that was cool to see. Did you have any other shouts for European competitions, or we were all over the place?
It would be Cole Palmer, though, like the debut. Yeah, and like cool. Kareem the Dream, Kareem Adeyemi. 3 goals, 3 assists in the competition. I have said it previously. I expect to see this player worth 100 million in the near future. Yeah. Okay. Kareem the Dream, baller.
Hey, that's actually a great segue. Did you want to go to transfers next, or?
Yeah, transfers. So if there's anything that we didn't mention in the Wonderkids highlights, guys, please go put it in the comment section down below, and we'll gladly have a convo with you. So transfers, yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to start off because you just talked about Adeyemi, right?
Yeah.
And, there's got to be a next step. There was a next step for Daka. There was a next step for Holland. There's a next step for Daka. There is a next step for Kareem Adeyemi. And you probably saw it as well, that there were family members. There was an agent of Adeyemi's that was reportedly in Munich, meeting with Bayern Munich officials. I'm looking at it. Yeah, and I'm looking at it, though, and I'm saying, I really like Liverpool to come in for Adeyemi. I mean, who better, to fight the hegemony? Is that what it is? The monopoly of Bayern Munich? Than Jurgen Klopp coming in and grabbing him from under Bayern's strong hands. But I could see him doing phenomenally well at both. But you put an Adeyemi in the same 11 as a Musiala, it's just... Yeah.
Development-wise, I do think for Adeyemi, it's safer to go to Bayern. Okay? But tacticians-wise, I think the best fit is Liverpool. I have to agree with you. Yeah. Counter-attacking pace, clinical finishing. At 19, I think Adeyemi, you put him instead of Firmino. Not every match, okay? Because rotation. But he's going to develop really well with Klopp. But I do think that if I was his agent, you're going to Bayern Munich. Guaranteed development. And Liverpool, the truth is, Klopp leaves. What happens? Okay, the tactics aren't maybe the same for Adeyemi. Everything can happen, okay, in football. Yeah. So Bayern, I think it's going to be the choice for Adeyemi. But that was a nice suggestion there. How much would he cost, though? Like 30, 40 million?
Do you think that much? I think people have gotten smarter based on the prices that Holland and Daka have gone for. So, yeah, that's probably actually right. That's right. That's a good...
Holland left for 20.
Right, which is...
but he had a release clause.
That's true.
30, I think 30 could do it. Yeah. 30 could do it.
Yeah,
so here with the transfer talk, I wanted to mention this quick because I found it funny that a team like Chelsea that has Lukaku, Tuchel is talking about Haaland, like what? You mean to say that Chelsea is actually considering playing Lukaku next to Haaland?
Hey man, it depends on how Lukaku is, how long he's out. No, just kidding.
That's scary. No, but that's scary, man.
That's
imagine.
That's
4-4-2, Haaland, Lukaku.
Yeah.
Instead of Lautaro. And this, I honestly think Lukaku ain't playing the same because he doesn't have a supporting striker like Lautaro, okay, like last season. He would be much better with a Haaland next to him. He likes to have a striker supporting him. Yeah. And Haaland, I don't know, but that would be interesting. And I've mentioned it previously. I really thought Haaland was going to Chelsea this transfer window. Because Roman Abramovich loves a poster boy. Okay, Shevchenko. Look, it's the same thing. Yeah. Okay, so I really thought that.
Except Haaland. My goodness, I mean he's high up on every attribute. Beyond that, and you know what? If Lukaku can't play off of Haaland will just score the damn goals himself. So, you're right. That would just be absolutely ruthless.
2 million a month, though. I think that's what he's gonna earn. 500K a week. That's what Erling Haaland's demanding, and you're gonna get him for 60 million transfer. So Raiola is saying to the clubs, "Look, we got a release clause of 60 million. Now compensate us with a huge salary," and that's why Raiola is one of the best agents in business.
Yeah.
This is what he did.
Yeah.
This is what he did.
It's absolutely unreal. How much does Raiola make in a year? Can somebody figure that out,
Easily
please?
more than 100 million, I'd
That's
say.
crazy.
Easily.
It's just
Easily.
unbelievable.
I think he bought the house of Al Pacino after he got the Pogba deal. That was actual news in England. I remember at the time.
All right. Well,
just the fact that he can buy that house just shows like how powerful it is.
I'm surprised he doesn't have his own cryptocurrency. Like, you
never know. NFTs, man. He maybe he'll do NFTs of his players.
He probably
never
does.
know what's happening.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I wanted to mention this. Did you see like Paul Fonseca being mentioned as the new Newcastle coach?
I was going to ask you about that. Right. That was an odd one to me.
Telepathy, Bretson.
It's like not further along than just like speculation, right? They're actually having talks.
Nico Shira was the journalist, I think, quite credible. He mentioned it.
Yeah, I think it's debatable for some people on that credibility from time to time, just based on what I know on Twitter. But then again, that's not me saying that. But Paulo Fonseca, I mean, are we really thinking that he's the right person to start out the era? I mean, he was only great with Shakhtar. Am I wrong? I mean, he underperformed with AS Roma. Did he not?
He's an upgrade, though, from Steve Bruce.
Well,
and Paul Fonseca, he may not have been very good with AS Roma, but he had a good style of play. He had a good style of play with AS Roma. And for Newcastle fans, you'll have a much better style of play with Paul Fonseca. I don't think he's the man, okay? I'm not going to put my chips on Paul Fonseca, but I do think it's a good option for what's out there. They won't get Zidane, Newcastle. They won't get Conte. Maybe they could get Lampard.
Yeah.
Maybe they could get like Paul Fonseca. So I think those two they're interesting.
That is interesting. I mean, and then what does he do? Does he raid Roma? I mean, does he go for like Mkhitaryan? I'm sorry, I got like peanut butter on the roof of my mouth. Does he like bring Chris Smalling back? What do you bring him back to the Premier League? I'm a little confused at where he then.
Well, I said like last podcast, they get Langlais would be a really good signing.
Sure, but oof.
Well, you start somewhere. I did see. I'm gonna go with the lead up.
Yeah.
Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants Luis Diaz, and Newcastle. That would be a very good signing for Newcastle. Yeah. 70 million. I'm telling you, Luis Diaz is one of the best players I saw in Liga BWin in the last 3 years. Okay, yeah, he's really performing. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
He's also been virtually unplayable for Colombia. He's been absolutely phenomenal for them in their World Cup qualifying. So that'd be a good piece to bring in, and then to have Saint-Maximin still there and Almiron but the name that just kept standing out in terms of all of these rumors is Ousmane Dembele. And do you think that's realistic? I mean, I get it when he's healthy. When Dembele is healthy, he's electric. He's fun to watch. It's a beautiful footballer. It reminds us of the yesteryear when he was healthy and he was doing that from day to day for Rennes and for Dortmund. But you really want to like start your era off with a guy that's been injured so often that he spent more time off the field than on.
I don't want to be that guy, okay? But the truth is Dembele, everybody like Barcelona doesn't want to keep Dembele, okay? He's a problem right now.
Right.
I don't want to be that guy, but Dembele is a problem right now for Barcelona. And the fact that they can offload him to Newcastle, okay, maybe it's a reality check for him. Okay, a necessary reality check. And you'll be receiving a ton of money. So I think it can work out. Okay, it's a rebuild. And it all depends with the pieces he has next to him.
Right.
But, yeah, if they get 4 or 5 players that are mid-world class, like Dembele is mid-world class. World class in form. Not in form, he's normal. So Langlais, Callum Wilson is not world class by any shape or form, but he's a good player in form. Jamal Lewis, you mentioned Joey Willock.
Yep.
They got a mid. They can go against Wolves next season, I'd say. They can go against Leeds next season. So
it's whether or not they have the patience to. But yes, I hear you. That'll be interesting. I mean, and you know, there is somebody sitting on the bench over at Tottenham. You know what I'm talking about here? He's 25 now, although he looks like he's 15 years old. Harry Winks has played very little this year.
That's true.
I
That's
mean,
true.
I'm not really saying for Newcastle, but there are plenty of Premier League teams that need a little kind of a
Hmm.
more solid addition to the center of midfield. And Harry Winks is not playing anymore for Spurs. He's out in the cold. I think he's got one meaningful appearance this year for Spurs. So
But I told you, man. I remember, like you were like really bullish with this Harry Winks, and
I was.
he's normal. I don't see him being special though.
Well,
Like
he's
passing
a cog in a
ability,
machine, right? He's an addition to a team mentality that could do well. I mean, certainly,
Skip's
uh,
better.
yeah.
Skip's better.
Well,
That's how I see things. Like I think Oliver Skip just plays because he's much better than Winks. Like Winks is just so mediocre. Passing ability was what he had special, but now
yeah.
I think he's leveled a bit. He's leveled a
Well,
bit.
we'll see. It's hard to believe he is 25 now, so it's not as if he's still got plenty of years left. But he's
True,
beyond what we
true,
should be talking about on this podcast, Alex. Huh.
true. But I
Um,
had a player that it's a guaranteed transfer. L'Equipe has confirmed.
yep.
Marcel have guaranteed that they're gonna get Mateo Guendouzi next this season. 11 million it costs Arsenal. Okay, and I'm just gonna say, like for me,
Mm,
Marseille got a bargain for Arsenal. Okay,
absolutely.
and I'm just praying that Arsenal know how good Saliba is.
Yeah.
Okay, because if Marcel managed to get a, a deal for Saliba, that'd be embarrassing for Arsenal fans because Saliba right now is a top 10 young center backs in the world performing.
Mhm.
Okay, yes, Arsenal have that right now, so don't let it go. Don't
Yeah.
let it go, please.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be fun to see Saliba and Guendouzi against PSG in the next hour.
Mhm.
But yeah, that is they have to turn a page on that one, and the fact that they're even getting 11 million is probably pretty decent for Arsenal, and they just got to let him go. And I think that was the plan all along.
Mhm.
But let's talk about one that I could really get behind and get excited about.
I know what you're. It's
Can
the
we? Yeah, yeah,
talk.
yeah. So there's been a little star of the Major League Soccer season, or I should say Major League Soccer season, not the Major League Soccer, and that has been Ricardo Pepe, who plays for FC
There you go.
Dallas. FC Dallas has given us Weston McKennie, given us Paxton Pomykal, Chris Richards,
Hmm.
Brian Reynolds, Jose
Keaton
Mourinho,
Parks was there. No,
Keaton Parks. Yeah, Jose. Well, no, Keaton Parks was NYC. Wait, no, Parks was
before
not.
NYC.
Parks? I
Before
don't
NYC.
know.
Ah,
You have more
but
football
yeah.
knowledge than me about American sports. I don't. Oh, now you
I
got me
think
worried.
I
Um,
don't.
but no, there's a kid Christian Kappas who doesn't get nearly
Hmm.
enough credit, who plays in Denmark. But anyway, I digress. Right. Ricardo Pepe has been just on fire this season. 12 or 13 goals in Major League Soccer, and then they call him up. They're forced to call him up, U.S. Men's National Team, and he saves us a couple times, scoring a bunch of big goals. And it'll be massive to see how he plays against Mexico in November. But anyway, as happens with a lot of these guys that are coming through, and as happened with Brian Reynolds previously, and McKennie and Adams and all them, a bazillion clubs are out, and I
More
honestly
than usual, though.
more that is true, and I was very kind of surprised to see that the Premier League was sniffing around him,
Hmm.
because if you're asking me for my favorite destination for him, it's logical, right? Send him to
We're gonna
Ajax.
say,
Send him to
yeah.
Ajax. I mean, him at Ajax would make me so happy, even if it's Haller's understudy, or send him to Dortmund, because there's going to be turnover up there in the coming years, right? And both of those teams will play their players, and I think there's still this chink in the armor of us American football fans when we see a player go abroad. I mean, 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, I was so excited when Clint Dempsey would get 15 minutes for Tottenham, right? And now every day, even though, well, Pulisic is injured and Reyna's injured and a bunch of people's injured, but Ricardo Pepe's out here scoring goals left and right, and these names are coming in. Serginho Dest is starting for Barcelona in Clasico. Like that type of stuff is there,
Reina,
but there's
Pulisic.
still, yeah, there's still like an underconfidence type of feeling
Hmm.
about this, and I just want him to go somewhere where he's going to play. But then I think about it, and I'm like, I think Ricardo Pepe, I'm not going to call him like inevitable, but I think wherever he lands, he will find his way into the 11.
I think so too. And Wolfsburg, wouldn't that be a good club too, Breton?
Yeah, there's like a verbal agreement there, but the players that have gone to Wolfsburg before them, I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No, no, I don't.
I
So-
did see the news like in the Prem. I think it's Liverpool interested, United, Brighton, and there's another club. But you think the Prem? You think the Prem is a viable option for Ricardo Pepe? Because I know he's a clinical finisher. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that clubs there's a lack of strikers. And the fact that he's American or not, like they want quality clinical strikers with fantastic finishing.
Yeah.
Pepe's that. Okay. So do you think like the Prem would be a viable option for him?
I'm going to have to wrap my head around that more, because if you were to ask me a week ago, I would have said unequivocally no. Right. But now the more I think about it and what you brought, what you just brought up, it does that. It does make sense because he would get his moments. I mean, he's mobile. He presses. He buys into like any mentality that you're going to like. The kid is humble as hell, and he's just ready to get to the top. And I think
how much will he cost? 15?
Yeah, it really wouldn't be that much.
Million?
I think you're going to look. It's going to be a lot higher than say the 8 that Brian Reynolds had put on him. I think it's going to be more like 12 to 15 with incentives. But
that's a good deal.
He's 18. He's 18 years old, and he's got the world in front of him. So it'll be fun to see where he winds up.
That's interesting to see a Major League Soccer talent leaving for that money. That's very interesting, in my opinion.
It's going to be normal in the coming future. I really do.
That's the spirit, Bradson.
It is.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
So is there any transfers you want to mention? Like,
no, those are the only ones I
wrapped up. Okay, so if there's any transfers that we've missed out or speculation, put down there in the comment section down below, and we love to have a talk, and we'll gladly have it. So our last topic is more of an opinion based, but it was Bretson's idea, and I really liked it, and it's who is in our favorite 11, okay, under 21 11. It's not based by who's the best, but who's our favorites, okay? Who's Alex's favorites and who's Bretson's favorites 11.
Yep.
So you want to start like goalie, or do you want to just say the 11s?
Yeah. Well,
let's start like goalie. I'll start. You want to start with the goalie?
Yeah, and then at the end, we can wrap it up by saying the 11s as a whole. But what I really would love to just, I hope people will get a little interactive about this, because this kind of like, I grew up knowing, and this is going to date me. We now know my age when I say this, but I grew up loving Brian McBride. Not because he was the best striker. In fact, a lot of you probably don't know who the hell he is. Understand?
I don't know who the hell he is.
Exactly. But he played for Fulham. He was a Fulham star back when it was crazy for Americans to go abroad, right? And he did really well there. That if you ask anyone that was a Cottager fan, right, that was a Fulham fan, they know who Brian McBride is. Okay. But he was the type of guy that would go up against an Italian defender in the 2006 World Cup and take an elbow to the face and literally have to get like metal installed in his cheek, and then he'd play with like a bloodied face the whole rest of the game. He was the guy that would take 15 knocks and get up every time, right? So that's kind of what I meant by this.
I love those warriors.
Exactly. So I have a lot of these guys with chips on their shoulders. I'm going to start with a biased one, and I'm going to go with an American goalkeeper. He's 17 years old. He's 6'4". He plays for the Chicago Fire. And I'll be very honest right now, the Chicago Fire has been a dumpster fire the last 10 years. Okay. And that's about the only fire that's been happening there. But there is hope ahead. They're starting to rely on their homegrown talents. They got 30,000 people out to Soldier Field the other day. And in goal, started, I think, the last 8 or 9 games. He's got 4 or 5 clean sheets, which for the Fire, that is amazing. And his name is Gabriel Slonina. And he's 17, 6'4", good shot stopping ability, confident as all get out. And he's a name you're going to hear a lot moving forward. Is he better than like a David Ochoa who will play for Mexico moving forward? No. Is he better than Ilan Meslier? Obviously not. But Slonina is going to be somebody you want to watch out for because he is essentially the hope of a whole franchise in Major League Soccer moving forward. And he's good. It's early, but he's good. So we'll see.
There you go. There you go. So who's my goalkeeper? So I'm going to go here with my Irish heritages. If I'm telling you that I see this player play club level, I'm lying. Okay, I don't see Portsmouth play, but I wanted to mention here because I'm half Irish. Okay, and I absolutely loved it. I'm half Irish, and I watched the Ireland-Portugal game, and I was admired by the goalkeeper, and that was Gavin Bazunu. Okay, 19 years old, and he honestly leveled himself against Portugal.
Sure.
And I had to say to myself, like, Ireland, you have that position locked. And previously, one of my favorite players growing up was Shay Given. And now see Gavin Bazunu doing that for Ireland. It's really nice to watch for me. So that's my pick, coming from my Cork heritage. So I had to mention this one. And yeah.
I like it. And he's part of the Manchester City machine, right? He's on loan to Portsmouth. And I think
he'll inevitably have to leave, right?
Yeah, he will. Probably because I don't see him. Yeah, Zach Steffen has gotten some good words, but I think the bigger thing to say here is we look down lists of U21 goalkeepers. You got Trubin, you got all these really, really good studly dudes, right? A bunch of Turkish goalkeepers that look great. And there's only one that stopped the Cristiano Ronaldo penalty. And that's Gavin Bazunu. So I think, your heart's in the right place, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So yeah.
All right.
He did have a memory for me. So
there you go. Do you want to go with your left back?
I want to mention like the 4 defenders, like just so we can wrap defenders. So I want to start I'm going to mention my defensive line, and my defensive line consists of Nun Menj at the left. Okay.
Shocking.
Always going bold.
Shocking.
Julian Timber at center back. Lacroix, which the pace is bold and the community on TikTok know that Lacroix is extremely bold. And I don't know who's his lookalike, but he's bold too. And Tino Livramento. Okay. So my defensive line is Nun Menj, Julian Timber, Lacroix, and Tino Livramento. I want to have a special mention here. Tino Livramento, Academy Player for Chelsea of the Year, and he's balling for Southampton, okay? Yeah. I don't see him staying maybe next season already at Southampton because he's playing so well.
Yeah.
So, and Armand Borja também, too, for Le Coban. So, yeah, that's my defensive line.
€5 million, right? Is that what that was to Lantino? My goodness. Yeah, and he really is. He's fun to watch for Southampton, and man, he took that right back position over quick over there. But that's a high ceiling back 4, even for favorite 11. So I'll go mine here, and it's going to be maybe a little more leveled up already in terms of who we know. But I love it because there's a lot of CONCACAF in this. You and I differ on who the best left back in the world is right now, U21. And that's okay because it doesn't mean I don't believe in Nuno Mendes. It just simply means that Alphonso Davies, in my mind, he's essentially one of the GOATs of the CONCACAF region, okay, currently. So he's got to be my starting left back, capable of anything at any time. Yeah, so we're gonna go. You're right. I should lump them together first. We'll go left back Alphonso Davies. We'll go center back Boubacar Kamara. He can play middle too, middle of the pitch. We'll go center back Wesley Fofana when he's healthy because he's just a beast. And right back, this will puzzle some people, but I'll say Serginho Dest. There's such a high ceiling.
You have to say Serginho Dest. Come on.
There's just such a high ceiling on Serginho Dest that it just makes me happy. And he's playing more and more like he has a chip on his shoulder, right? He had a pretty bad outing for the U.S. men's national team, I think, early on in World Cup qualifying. And he has since followed that up with really solid performances. And I don't know of many right backs that can create the type of magic on the dribble that Alphonso Davies can on the left side, right? And to have those just makes me like really excited if we're talking about a favorite 11 that's going to impress. Probably leave us a little exposed on the right side defensively, but hey, that's okay.
You got Fofana there.
You got Fofana. If you got Fofana, you're good to go. And Kamara, Boubacar Kamara, tough tackler, incredibly composed, plays beyond his years, versatile. He'd be my general, my smart general, because he's not the biggest dude, but he'd be my general.
He's a quality player.
He is. He is. All right, so your midfield.
So my midfield, the trio, got to put João Felix, because for me, the dribbling of João Felix is still immaculate. Okay. Sure. I love it. Tonali. I love it. I love that Tonali's finally delivering this season for Milan. I did mention that I was very sad of him last season, and I'm very happy now that he's delivering as he should. And he went out against Bologna, and they suffered 2 goals. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that. So that means Tonali is the system. He's the engine of AC Milan right now. And my third option is Tchouaméni. So Tchouaméni, underrated player for me, considering where he is at playing ability. He's top class. He's French national team level, and he's not talked like a French national team player. That's true. My midfield is Felix, Tchouaméni, and Sandro Tonali. Okay, that's my favorite under 21 midfield.
That'd be bonkers just to actually see that. You know, has anyone I wonder if any of our listeners has ever assembled that midfield in FM or FIFA. All right, mine is relatively straightforward. Pedri's the organizer. For this for a reason. Jude Bellingham is in there to be the bite, and apparently to score ridiculous goals like he did over the weekend. His slalom goal, then he roofed it, loved it. And then you ready for this? I was very surprised.
Surprised with yourself?
Surprised with myself. When I thought about it, I'm sitting there like, U21. I want Phil Foden. I want Foden. He's got
always hating on Foden.
I am. And you know what? I think it's because you're seeing him turn into a world-class star. I mean, he already is one, but like he makes every moment count. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. There's almost a little like, I think it's something about English players, right? Where there's just that, like, they got a little bite to them, which I really, really like. And Jude has it, and Phil Foden have it. And I think those two in the midfield would be absolutely wonderful with the graceful approach of Pedri and the organization of Pedri. So
that would be a cheat code. That would be a cheat code midfielder. But Foden playing at 8, I think that might be his future role. Like in 3 years' time, in that English team, I think he might be an 8 next to Mount. I really think that's going to happen, Breton. So it's interesting that you put him in that midfield, because I think he's going to be more of a midfield in his career than a winger.
All right.
And when Guardiola leaves, I think that will adapt. Yeah. So
did you almost choke up when you said that? When Guardiola leaves, you almost choke up.
if Guardiola leaves, like he'll have a sabbatical year, and maybe he'll go to Newcastle.
You never know. That's
where the money's at. So you want to go with your trio up front?
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, I got Bite in the midfield. I got Flair on the wings, and I'm gonna overflank the Flair. I'm gonna add way too much Flair. On the left side, I'm gonna have Kamaldeen at Stade Rennais. If you've seen him dribble and you've watched him play, like I got to watch him play in the Danish league, and now we're watching him play in Liga 1. He's delightful, which is weird and old of me to say, but he just is a lot of fun to watch. So I'm gonna go Kamaldeen on the left. I'm going to go up top. I couldn't get away from this. He's a freak of nature, Erling Haaland. Finally, on the right side, I'm going to go very Homer here, even though he doesn't really play on the right side, but I'm going to put Brendan Aronson, Red Bull Salzburg, because he's a mighty. He's annoying. He's pesky. He's a half space merchant. He just sits in those little spaces and waits to get the ball. He can make something happen out of nothing. And yes, he's American. It's biased, and I'm picking him anyway because he's from the Philadelphia Union, and I love him. So
it's favorite 11. So there you go. You have that moment, and you deserve it, Breton. So my trio. You mentioned a Stade Rennes player. I'm going to mention a Stade Rennes player, and it's the player that I think will be a world-class winger, a top 3 winger one day. I'm that bullish on this kid. And it's Jeremy Doku, that right now is one of the best dribblers in the world.
I like it.
So Doku, Vlahovic, and Ferran Torres.
Oof.
Every player here, they're not the best in each position,
No.
but every player has a special trait. Vlahovic has the finishing of Haaland. Okay, he might not have the physical ability and the overall package, but the finishing, Vlahovic has it. Doku dribbling is already in a special category itself. And Ferran Torres, goal scoring and clinical and pace, the overall package in terms of like being the Spanish player for the future. I believe he's going to be one of the key players in that Spanish team.
Yeah.
So these are my favorite players to come, okay? Ferran Torres, Vlahovic, and Doku. So
all right,
you want to mention the 11s?
Yeah, we'll mention the 11s.
Okay.
And what do you think? We throw them in the notes, and what I'd love to, maybe we can even do one of those polls. Whose would win against each other? Alex versus Breton. I wonder who's
Come on, your midfield is like ridiculous.
Yeah,
like, I didn't want to put
midfield
the
is
best in midfield. Like
That's
your
true.
midfield is
That's
actually ridiculous. Like I have to even say it. Like I'm like, whoa, man! Like you went bold with our midfield. So I'll mention my team. So
all right, go
Gavin
for it.
Bazzuno,
Yep.
left back Nuno Mendes, Lacroix, Timber, Tino Livramento, then Felix, Chouameni, Tonali, and then up front Ferran Torres, Vlahovic, and Jeremy Doku. That's my favorite under 21 11.
That's a fun 11. I'm trying to. It's like a nice diverse 11. Because they don't have. There's not like a really common element amongst all of them. But you have good reason to have each one there. So all right, my 11. I've got goalkeeper Gabriel Slonina, left back Alphonso Davies. My two center backs are Boubacar Kamara and Wesley Fofana. Right back Serginho Dest. In the midfield, I've got the cheat code Pedri, Jude Bellingham, and Phil Foden. And up top, I've got Kamaldeen Sulemana, Erling Haaland, which is another cheat code, and Philadelphia Union represent Dupe. I'm going to say Brendan Aronson. All right.
There you go.
There
you go. So if you guys want to mention, that was fun. If you guys want to participate, like, tell us your favorite 11s, under 21 11s in the comments section, or players, okay? And explain to us why, because we love to know the stories around why you love these players, okay?
Absolutely.
And you can love Fati just like you can love Darwin Núñez, just like you can love Musiala. You have a story, you have a moment.
Yep.
So, yeah, just tell us, and we love to hear it. So that was a good pod, episode 27, right?
That was. I mean, we could go on forever, but we have to stop somewhere. Even good things come to an end, right?
Yeah, there we go. But more things to come for sure. So
Yes.
if there's anything you guys want us to mention, like, or any new element you want in the show, please put down in the comment section below. And yeah, guys, I think thank you for listening. And yeah, peace out.
So long.